All right, there we go. Hey. So, getting on real quick, answering some questions, doing a little bit of office hours, if you would. Been getting a lot of similar questions through Discord and in the sessions on a lot of different things. And just wanted to get on here. Good morning, Shuito. And I'll let you ask them if you want to put them in the chat. And then I will go ahead and answer and talk a little bit more about a lot of the different stuff going on. I was answering actually right in Discord this one. I'm not going to keep doing that. But some people were asking. I made a book comment, and the idea was to put it like as an insert, like a small type of book inside the dice. But let's see what we got here. Be included in the dice. So, are there any unifying things in the Exandria campaigns that could be included in the dice? Yeah. So let me talk about the dice real quick. So we put in the I put in the announcement channel that I added in the player section that we are doing a switch in pricing coming up to kind of basically what it is just an update to everything. It's updating all the pricing to be on equal footing, and with that is coming a dice promotion, and the whole idea is anyone who opts into the pricing early, so it goes into effect in January, and if you opt to an early, which is early means by Monday, by the end of Monday, I believe is what I have in that, and if you do so, you go ahead and get a set of dice, which I'm actually really excited about. I've been working with the designer at Terrarium Forge, and it's gonna look really good. Things about these would be handcrafted dice, particularly made. So it's I get to really talk with them, and it's one-on-one. It's just a person who's an expert at making these, working with me, and they're personally doing these dice. They're not getting passed off or anything, so I'm really excited about them. So I get to do, there's a lot of custom stuff we get to do, and of course, with most custom things, a lot of times it's what you don't do that makes it nice, because you can throw in a bunch of crap. They're like, we got mica powder, we've got this, and I'm like, okay, we gotta get to it, and we're making some decisions there. So yeah, and I do want to say the reason we're doing the dice promotion is just my way of saying thank you to actually all of you. I was in DM chat, and a lot of DMs were calling me crazy for doing it, because they're like, you need to do this and whatever. Actually, some even said that it was like devaluing my product or something, and I don't look at it that way, because I just look at it kind of putting value into all of you, because I think we're a community of people. That's what the Discord is. The idea is that we're a big community, and sure, there's like anything like a bowling club or anything else, there are like fees that go along, but yeah, we're in this, we're having fun, we're laughing, and all that type of stuff. So anyway, that's what this is meant to do, is my way of doing that. And we do a lot of things with minis, and I really wanted to do something that was even beyond what we do. And dice is one of those things. We've thought about getting into the dice, but just the amount of actually chemical danger it brings into the house with a special needs child is a little much for us. So we're like, let's just not do that. But the point is that here's someone who's very good at this and has been doing it and is really good. So Um, let's go into the Exandria question a little bit. That's actually a really, really good question. So I think there's a few things in that. One, I have to be careful to not make something that infringes on copyrights. Right, so like I think like if I put like let's say a dodecahedron or something, which has featured prominently, we use that as a big plot device, and there's some big plots going on with like the Luxon beacons and those types of things. I feel like we'd get into some gray area there, and so I was trying to think of something like that because Exandria does make a really big piece of what we do. But I couldn't come up with anything. Like I said, I just put in my elements in the announcements. I was thinking of book, just because one, that actually is the major graphic I was using, but two, what I was thinking of, like GM Balo and kind of what we do. I think story. I keep coming back to story, right? People stay because of the story. We talk about that. We talk about like how the stories intersect. And so I was trying to think of something generally that story. And of course, a book is something. And I was looking, I don't see a lot of book dice. And I don't know if we can even do it. But I mean, I've seen little craft books and stuff like that. But one thing about the dice set that I'm actually really excited about is that it's not just 7 dice. I think it's, I have to double check, but I believe it's something like 12 or 13 of a set of dice. Because it's 2d4s, and I believe it doubles up on the d10s. And then on the d4s, we get the common caltrop dice for the d4 that, when you step on it, it does 1d4 damage to your foot. And then also, we're getting a different style of the 1d4s. So they're going to be more of like the teal drop type of style to roll a little different. So I think that's pretty cool. It's just not something. And what I got really excited about was because I was at Gen Con and I kind of saw those and I really wanted to get them, but they were charged a lot of money for them. Well, we're paying a lot of money for these, but the point is that just they weren't something that I was going to get to myself. And I was talking to somebody else on our Discord, and they were just talking about how they would never like spend the money on dice, which is why I really wanted to do the dice, because I was like, because I'm this way too. I'm like, I'm not spending $90. Like, it's just not something I would do. So like as a gift to something like special, I'm like, that's a really cool thing. It's just generally, I'm not saying like if you do that, that's fine. It's just something that I think a lot of people don't necessarily do, or they maybe feel guilty doing. But anyway. Yeah, so it's a big set of dice. So yeah, if you have any ideas, I would love to hear more ideas on the dice. I will talk about I do want to talk a little bit about how to opt in. So if you have any comments you want to kind of put in, like things you'd love to see in the dice or any other questions, you can go ahead and filter with some questions. I'm just going to review how to opt in. So because the way that SPG, I love SPG, but some things are a little harder to understand about it. So if you look at whatever campaign you're in, they're always going to show you the price that it costs for someone to join the game today, even when you click on your own thing. So with that right now, just because I was like, I'm not going to have someone join in to try to raise them. All of them are raised to $40 currently. So if you look at it, you're going to say, oh, $40. Am I already paying that? You're not. You're paying whatever you signed up to pay right now. So in order to get to that 40, if you're trying to opt in, what you will need to do is quickly leave the campaign. You just hit leave campaign, and then you sign directly back up. Once you do that, you're coming under the new price. And then if you qualify for any of the multiple game discounts, right, which 2 games are 35, 3 games are 30 each, then you'd let me know and I apply that. And what I've been doing for everybody is sending them a screenshot just to show, hey, D&D Beyond clearly is showing that this is what we're doing. Or SPG, whatever. Did I say D&D? The SPG is clearly showing like what this is, and then of course if there's any problem, but there isn't. When people have to miss a game, when people do things, we mess with that all the time, and is appropriate. So I have no worries about that. But yeah, that's kind of how you go ahead. And I do get, I think, a good amount of people, and I kind of realized this after, are waiting for like their game to happen this week before they go in and do it, which is totally fine if you're doing that. I did say by Monday, so it's totally cool. But do just have to remember, because we're gonna go do hard cutoff, because it is just kind of going, hey, if you're in on this, cool, and that type of thing. And then of course the other way we're saying thank you to everybody, I did kind of talk about a little bit, is the giveaway, and I've already been talking with Bobby, who's running, who has his shop in there to gift cards. And I'm hoping, what I want to do is hope this encourages either for some people to start some stuff, frankly. Like, I know some of you have been messing around with making dice, like, man, get your dice shop in there, or other things. So I'm going to keep it that way for a while. Hopefully what I'm wanting to see, what my dream to see, right, is that more people kind of start some little gaming startup. Because if you're in this Discord, you're probably, I would imagine, you're passionate about gaming, and maybe you can start something that you're a little bit of passionate about in there, and that can work. We also have the guitar lessons in there as well. And so, but yeah, I've been reaching out to those members, and been working on all that, and that's going to be a monthly, and that will start in January with when all the changes officially take into effect. So let's see here. Razzle Dazzles, we say a B, your name, but also a B similar to yeah, the Beyond Dice. If it's a different B, it's a different B, I suppose. I'd have to say kind of what the Beyond Dice probably look like. Because you're right, we wouldn't want it to look like that unless we put a B like as an insert, which I think that would be, I don't know. I don't think I could do that. I feel like it's a little too self-advertising. I could probably get like a GMB in there. I do have the logo there, which I don't know. My only thing with the logo, I was looking at my logo recently, is how, you know, in one color in white, because that's probably what it would be, right? Inserted on the dice, if we'd understand what it is without the two color variations, like if that was one color. So I have to kind of look at that, and I might remake the logo depending as well. But yeah, I could probably do like an MB or whatever, because the G is just Game Master. But yeah, so let's see here if there's anything else kind of going. Let's see if I have anything in here. Yeah, so some things that people were looking at, as we were just talking about, even the dice things, were smaller dice. Mushrooms would be really cool. I actually was sort of digging the smaller dice idea. I don't know how feasible that is, but I was digging it, I have to say. I was like, that cool. But yeah, what do y'all think about the books? What do you think about the books inside? Because I thought that was sort of interesting. But yeah, let me see here. I'm going to talk about a few other things. So if you're somebody who's either at the 2-game mark in your, or if you're at any of the marks, you're considering other games, there's obviously a few. We have Monday open. There's probably 2 on Monday that's feasibly for you, because the other one's like early morning for most people. But there's the Monday at 5 and a Monday at 9 game that could totally work. And also Tuesday's currently open. We're filling that up, but that is open right now. And then I think there is one spot on Thursday if you want to grab in. I'm anticipating some open spots on Friday coming up. And of course, let's see here, Saturday afternoon, that's coming up in a few hours, has that as well. All right, so let's see here. And Shuto, we've got, that would be cool. Yeah, I think I want an open book if I can get it. I don't know. Again, I'm not sure how feasible anything is. I have to talk to the designer, because right now I'm kind of imagining what this would be, but I like that. The only thing I was thinking of is if there was something that kind of did community, because that's just one big, you know, so I have little things written around, And one my big thing is telling a cooperative story. Like that's what I want to do. I always want to be telling a story together. And it was what I was thinking of the book. But I would love anything that uh helps us, like anything that helps communicate that this is our story, one and all, because that's what I particularly love. Now I love all the other DMs around, I really do. And it's just one thing when I see others, a lot of them are writing like these very like, hey, here's the plot A, here's the plot B, and they're going through. And one thing I really love about what we do here is we tell everything together, and once kind of characters begin to make a decision, then we'll start to put out, hey, here's this like interesting pieces that you're going to come on to, but really the crux of it, the story impetus is really on the players. You guys get to have that, which I really like to keep in what we do. So let's see here. Yeah, an official logo for Baloverse Phase 1. Yeah, I agree. I think that's coming on the 20 at this point, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and get something good on that. I think, but I will. That'll take a little bit of time. It was send reasonable limits our money. I know it's like a dice. It's oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna come in, but yeah. Oh, I think you're talking about the logo. Okay, yeah, yeah. I think that, yeah, that's not gonna be great for that, unfortunately. Coming out, but it's a good idea. I do like that. Which is just one thing I think I think at some point I was thinking about doing something similar to that. And we're kind of getting into that because I think of grabbing one of the artists that are around and hooking everybody up for that, and having everyone make art through a similar artist or the same artist actually, and then using that on something like what you're talking about, Jackie, and getting out to everybody. Whether that's bought or whatever, I'm not sure how we'd have to do that, but I'd have to look into pricing on those things and exactly, what would make it feasible. But yeah, I was actually thinking, because if it all having a consistent art style would probably be important, as opposed to like everybody's version from a different artist and style and everything. But it sort of having a piece would be really, really cool. The poster can be for SB. Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, I don't think no. I really like that. Yeah, all the same style. Yeah. So I was thinking of working with that, because I would have to imagine if I was talking to an artist and I basically said, here's X amount of people who would be working with you and whatever, they'd be interested in. However, we'd have to work that out price wise. So that's a question. If we were going to do something where we're going to do like a big poster, what pieces of that would you be interested in? In other words, would you be interested in commissioning from the same artist? Would you be looking at that for something to be covered like in production cost and then pay for the poster? Or pay more for the poster, maybe, depending on how all that would work. Just, I don't know. It's like, we can chat on that a little bit. Stuff like that. Because that would be some of the questions in the production of it. And of course, like the more that's coming on, I guess the GM Balo side of it, the more than that just ups the price of the poster, more or less. But yeah, I do like that. I know, because I'm working with one artist now that's, I think it's $50 per portrait, something like that. Though that many, that might be able to help me out. But there's also a Nixia Arts that I've used before. That big fan of them actually, and they do it very reasonably as well. So and again, it'd just be kind of coming on the style. Like once we gave the style directions, like, hey, whether it's kind of comic book or modern anime style, whatever we would land on, we would go from there, I guess. I do love that. Yeah, phase 1 technically ended from. That is actually very true. Um, phase one is done, really. That was with it actually Friday. Friday's technically finishing up their phase one, I think. Everyone else has kind of had that. So they're just so Friday is just before the Plank King issue, and they're working on some stuff. So once they resolve some of their things, then I think they'll be into phase two with everybody else. I know Thursday started in phase two, essentially. Let's look at this. So would the dice book and the dice have vibrant colors? Would be more like the class Siren logo. Oh, right. I don't know. Ultimately, in my brain, I think the book itself probably is like white pages with maybe a like I guess muted color. Maybe brown, maybe something like a purple or whatever. But because I'd think the reason I say that is because I'd think the color would come from the dice. So what I would probably think is more neutral colors that get affected by other colors on the book, but enough to provide the contrast. And then whether it's going to be sparkly or mica powder, whatever we put in the dice to give it like that flair, that's going to provide the color around it. Is my thought. And like I said, I have these ideas. I'm going to be talking to the dice designer and say, don't let me, don't make me ugly dice. And they're not going to want to anyway, but we're going to make sure I trust them to help me keep that really working on there. The Feywilds haven't, yeah. So the Feywilds have a really, really big impact on phase two. Also, the big crack in the middle of the ocean because of Tuesday. Which was a little bit planned because depending what form that was going to take was always in flux, but there was a plot device inserted into one of the characters' heads very early on that was moving. So those are kind of the two things, and which one kind of happens first depends on a lot of things. A lot of the Feywild, we're still looking for the vestments in order to effectively go to the Feywild and rescue it. And then also, right now, Tuesday's looking for a staff of Ancient Spellcaster. And there's a lot of detail into that they may start to go find and see what they can do about this. So exactly how that works will be interesting. And if anyone becomes a big crossover phase would be one thing too. And that's one thing I'm actually trying to rethink or think about how the next crossover will work. I am writing a little bit of ideas on that because we do have big ones, and I'm kind of wondering if it's going to be something more like less clear interaction. So this last one was very much like everyone kind of met, decided what they're going to do, and started to do it. And I was thinking, I'm just kind of thinking about stuff, of doing something more where everyone's having these pieces because their storylines are bringing them there. And then we slowly see this build. And there's probably communication, because there already is some communication, but possibly less, because less militaristic. Because it's going to be in the Feywild and Shadowfell stuff. So by its nature, it's not going to lend itself anyway to like a militaristic type of force. It's going to take a lot of different deals depending on what everyone chooses to do. I think there's still at least 7 roads per campaign dealing with the Feywild that they still have to choose. Because I have like never infinite paths almost, but they're less infinite now. But yeah, so I'm looking at that a little bit more. Let's see here. Yeah, what color I prefer. So me, I tell you, I don't know if I do this on the dice, but I've been digging pink and purple as of lately, like because my all time like my classic go to color is blue. It's one of my hats blue, but I've been digging plain because I like stuff. So I'm trying to think a little bit. I was thinking of some like fiery red potentially, but then I thought that's just going to make them look like fire dice, and I don't know. I feel like a lot of people have fire dice. I know I do. I think I feel like that's one of the first things you get, and then if you don't get fire dice, you get like blood dice. Um, I feel like that's the go-to, right? People either have fire dice or blood dice or something like that. And so I wanted these. I do want these to be unique as best I can. I mean, at some point, they're dice and people can make things that look like it, but and some people talk about logo colors. That's actually what the designer is saying. So I am trying to think of logo color. So what I may do is land on color to my logo, or to the company, I guess, and then put those into there. But they're going to be pretty cool and shiny. I mean, I want, I've been digging that as of late anyway. So, but as far as preference, I think that's a little bit up in the air. When it comes to that, I do like sparkly. Because if they're just like single color dice, it's like, oh, what the heck? Like, there's going to be those inserts and that type of stuff. So yeah. Oh no, I'd like Thursday though. I like the influences of Wildemount. That'd be so sad. So, but on that note, I've been really, it's been notes so far. And it's been like just kind of little sentences that I get in the middle of the night or whatever that I kind of put into my notes on how Thursday is going to interact a little bit. Because they're very unique in what they do, and I have a deal to try to pull Monday in, but I'm not going to inorganically pull Monday in at all. Like, I don't inorganically put people in anyway, but I Monday's so on its own plane. But it'd be interesting. But I feel like Thursday could do some really interesting ones with especially as they get a little bit higher level, maybe at least 5, and they are able to do like broader influences. Like, what are they saying about the Shadowfell or whatever, and how can they influence that in a certain way to maybe make things easier. People arrive on a shore and find that the case for them to get aid has already been made, maybe by the influence of Wildemount. Those are just things that I've been thinking about. Let's see here. Yeah, that is a good way to do it, definitely, because it does have that aspect. Though I think a lot of the timelines are mostly aligned now. They might be a month or so behind. Almost just multicolored dice. Then the first ones with an image was flowers, and most recently Rip's Werewolf. Yeah. So I'm trying to do insert and then maybe an image or something like that. I just saw there's some cool coffee bean dice, but I'm not gonna do coffee bean because you can buy them for better. But it was like the dice I just saw that were really fun, I think on Amazon. Yeah, you don't have to get them. It just is the common ones people usually go to. Sort of ways to sprinkle. Yeah, I do like that. And they should be, obviously if they have an insert, they're going to be transparent dice, which that's a little me thing with anyway. Like when I've had to run like very serious games, where I guess official stuff. I'm one who usually says you have to have like transparent dice. That way we can see they're all made of they're the same material straight through. Because the reason, like, I've got these and I've had to test a lot of these, but and throw some out. But dice like this, because you don't know what they put inside, they could really put almost anything in here. So you could have an outer layer that's different than an inner layer, and when you do that, they could become unbalanced very easily. So I put them in salt water, and you put enough salt to make them float, and then you spin them, and you start to see how many of the numbers come up, and sometimes they are wildly imbalanced. But anyway, but the ones that I keep on my handy jar on my desk have been tested. So, I don't know why I do that other than I'm a crazy person. What else we got here? Isn't Thursday going to be more time skippy? I don't know. We'll let the story say what's going to happen. They are in the fact that they definitely have more weak jumps, I think, than everybody else. But I don't know if that's true because everyone else also has a lot more travel time right now. So, we'll see. I do kind of agree down here that I think by nature that campaign just isn't. It just isn't that. It just doesn't adhere to that. It's really exists, like it's just in the universe, but it's not as constrained by timelines, I would say. It's just sort of there in a fun aspect. Like we worry a little bit less about that. And again, because a lot of the time it's a good amount of time is going through. You have these projects, which if you guys haven't caught Thursday, we're coming with some fun mechanics, and I will probably, once I get to some I really like, I want to make like a little thing that I put on DM's Guild that's just like how like influencer rules. Like after we change a few things up, because we started with like kind of reworking some other rules, but I'm thinking I want to kind of fine tune a few more of those roles to be more in line with what we're trying to do, and I think it'd be kind of fun. You don't need to, but well, like I said, generally speaking, as long as they're transparent, it's pretty obvious that it's one material because you would see discolorations if there were two materials. It's only kind of on these, and these are dollar store dice. So the Dollar Tree has a set of 7 for $1. So that's kind of what those are. But like, oh, these were a gift from someone over here. I've got way too many dice on my desk. But I got like this guy, and so this guy's nice because you can see that it is fully the same material, and so by definition it's essentially balanced. So funny story about these, I don't have the D20 of these because I was officiating a wedding, and they were big RPers. They actually were people from my table that the two of them I was marrying together. I was putting them together in marriage, and I used the D20 as a way of talking about marriage and what it takes to make it. Basically, that there's natural ones, there's natural 20s, but mostly there's middling successes or whatever. And I was having some fun with it. And anyway, I left the D20 because they asked me to. I didn't anticipate that they would care so much about that. And then they kind of want it as a keepsake, so they have it. But so I no longer have a complete set of dice because of that, which is fine, obviously. Yes. Saturday is like. So what cracks me about Saturday is that's when we know precise dates, is whenever somebody communicates with Saturday, right? That's like the fun thing. So if you're coming in right now, if you want to ask any questions about what's going on with the dice or anything else at GM Baylor, go ahead and ask. We're kind of chatting about a few things, but you can definitely ask about promotion that's happening. That ends Monday. So you want to get in on that. And again, if you're currently in a campaign, you're going to want to send out your campaign, get back into your campaign, and you'll be good to go. I agree with you. I thought Metal Dice was so amazing. And I still even have some on my desk that I'll never pick up and use, like this guy. But I just don't. I don't like them. Like, I think because I like my dice to have a lot of rolls. And then as they do that, like the more they roll, the more fair I think it is. And I have no idea how that adds up probability wise. It's also the reason why, if I can, I always like to use dice towers. Because it makes the dice roll several times and it feels like a better result because of that. And to boot, I don't know how true this is. maybe I should do a video and test this. But I wonder if they balance out unbalanced dice, because my hypothesis is like a balanced dice you're throwing in the air a lot of the times, and so in the air and hitting down, that's going to cause the balance to maybe be more pronounced. But because the dice is rolling down a tower, I was curious if that would make it a little better. But yeah, so one thing I want to do is I want to get, so I have a green screen over here, but I want to see if I have a ton of dice towers we printed and painted. I think I'm making a wall of dice towers or something. I don't know. So I do something a little different because I'm getting a little tired of my green screen. But yeah. I totally get that. Yeah, that's kind of the thing too. I will rarely pick these up. The most that I pick them up is when we're doing stuff where like I have a person and I just don't have them up in the encounter builder, because like I'll have a stat block and you can't click the stack blocks unless you put them in the encounter builder on D&D Beyond, or look them up in the encounter builder weirdly. Yeah, that's why I have the dice tray. That way, if I just need to make something really quick, I can. Or if I'm on another monitor window and it's easier for me to grab like my dice here and just roll them really quickly. Also works with disadvantage, a little easier, less right clicking. They work. Yeah, metal dice do definitely chip, and I use a lot of plastic dice towers because I print in plastic and resin printing them. I don't have a resin printer that's big enough. So okay, so I don't know what the one that rejected. I don't know, it was 10 minutes. It was a normal dice tower. Yeah, they make some really cool ones. They I was at Gen Con. They had some that basically it's your dice storage case, and then it essentially just comes up in one piece, and then it rolls down. I like that. I have a lot of ones that don't disassemble. You just would bring them there. I guess the size of my head, about the size of my head. They're pretty nice. I got a bunch of them because we printed and painted them, which are really, really cool. Which I have a thing. I kind of want to ask art department to do them again, because she's always been a good painter, but her painting skill has increased dramatically since those dice towers, and I would love to see what she comes up with now, because I feel like they'd be off the chain with those. Yeah, Wormwood, they actually design, I think, towards players and making it feasible. So it's really nice. Yeah. So that's why I have a lot of the dice towers are, so what it is, I bought some 3D models that were all class specific. So there's the Ranger Tower, one for every class. There's even an Artificer Tower that you can get. So they're all made for that. And then there's some other themes, like a big Vampire Tower. I have the Mimic Tower. That's like a Mimic Castle. And so I like to use that sometimes as well. Yeah, that would be really, really amazing. I gave my daughter, well, we printed it and gave it to her. It was a Alicorn one, because we were playing Tales of Equestria, Friendship is Magic. So that type of thing. But yeah, I like them dice towers. Those are very fun. Those are one of those things I just wish they weren't so, like, that's the problem with either shipping them and doing anything with them, is they're so freaking big. And yeah, Wormwood stuff is very nice. Again, so Wormwood falls into that category of me, where they're great. I just can't bring myself to do it. Which is why, like, as I was talking earlier, I was saying I wanted to do the dice here because they are things that's like kind of the, when you see $60, $70 dice, a lot of people won't pull that trigger. I know I have a hard time doing that. And so and I feel like Wormwood stuff for me falls in the very, very same category, where like it's good. I'm just like, man, it's like I wish someone loved me enough to gift it to me, because I ain't buying it probably. sometimes I think I will. Like I'll be at I was at Gen Con. I think I might have almost, but I just didn't really come to it because there's always cheaper stuff. Like I got 6-sided Doctor Who dice for Paula, the art department. I ended up doing that for her, and so there's like other things I saw that were really funny. And plus, Chessex had like fill a pitcher of dice. I mean, like a pitcher. Like I don't even know if I have anything, but like two of these and wider or whatever pitcher of dice for like $12 or something. And they had this big bin of dice. You'd be like, and you could actually do random for one price, or you could select them for a price as well. So it was pretty insane. Um, yeah, that's nice. I would look for stuff like that too. Like if oh, you guys know I'm a big like bin shopper and all that type of stuff. But if they were having some closeout models, or if they were doing a decent Kickstarter where you could save some money, that would be really good too. That's my thing with Kickstarters. A lot of times, like they just want to. It's almost pre-sale instead of like I don't know. Kickstarter stuff. I feel like I want to be saving money to kickstart a project for the most part, at least a little bit. Which is kind of cool, but sometimes you pay more. It's sort of interesting, but I don't know. I'm not I've not run a Kickstarter, so I could just be really incorrect. Okay, so much of my Discord too. I just seen that the character Palin, who plays Galen, is like in the books in the dice, which is interesting. Yeah, I get that one. I think Kids on Bikes just because I was very interested in it. Yeah, that's kind of where I was thinking about that when I was looking. I really did just to kind of get it because I do really it just benefits me to have early access to things. So if I can kind of get the new version, get updates on the new version, and then be able to like if I wanted because basically I might do a Kids on Bikes session. And that way I could be like, hey, Kids on Bikes 2 by this date, because the book comes out on this date, and I know I'll have it in hand. Because, like, one thing, I was able to do that with the Tal'Dorei campaign. And there's a lot of DMs who were trying to do it, but they spent them like 6 weeks after the release to get their Tal'Dorei book because they didn't pre-order it. Essentially, like, it was really hard for them to get the access. Now, what Tal'Dorei Reborn did do is let you have the PDF immediately, so that was nice. But it was really hard to get the book for a long time if you weren't a pre-order person. So that's kind of where I'll do that just to have access and that type of stuff. So that's what makes a little more sense. But again, that's what I always wonder with stuff like that, like Kids on Bike, if they're going for the real fans or whatever. But that brings me up to games I'm looking at the future. Again, that kind of depends on what's happening because I don't know if I have much more bandwidth for regular games. We'll see, because I said that a few games ago. But one thing that I've been talking about with the pro DMs is that the more you do this, your endurance builds up. It's kind of like muscles. Your ability to do more games builds up. A lot of the time. So like a lot of times when people start out, they can do like 4 and then they're just exhausted and they couldn't do more than 4 a week, and then suddenly they can do 6, and after a while they can do 10. So, but just like with, physical lifting, there is some type of limit. But there's big discussion. It's probably not big. It's probably 10 people. Discussion out there about how many one could actually do. Yeah, I really like that idea. Let me put this up. Yeah, where it would be more mini, like where I do it 8 weeks, because I know, so I'm gonna think about that for a lot of the new ones, actually, because I know there's a lot of people who are in the community right now who would love to play some, but can't commit to like another year, right, of paying for a game, which I totally understand. And so I was thinking of like what if we said, hey, there's going to be 8, and I feel like a lot of those they can lend themselves to 8, especially if it's 8 and it's like fewer people, like 4 is what I would probably do, and then Yeah, because if I ran, I could justify something like that where I would run like a kids on bikes, maybe with 4 or 5 people, and do it at the 40 instead of the 30 that we do masks because it'd be less people. Um, that would likely work out or something like that. I have to think through it, run through my spreadsheets, but so I've been thinking about that. Been wanting to desperately am interested in Werewolf Apocalypse because that's like a fanboy thing for me. So I am, and I think the system's very, very similar. I just need to buy Chronicles of Darkness and relook at it, which is so crazy. Like, the new rules book has like the same cover as the old rules book for Chronicles of Darkness, which is ridiculous. But apparently they're different. That's a good one. Any Halloween one shots? So potentially, I think I'll make an announcement. I think I want to know. I want P. I kind of want to do an LFG thing almost for it. I think we did that for the when I was running Avatar en route for a little bit, which I would still run those if anybody wants to. But um, I might post something like that. In fact, I will. Like, I mean, I'll do that right now if people are interested and kind of find a day and time that kind of work. Most people know roughly my gaming schedule, and if that would work out, I think it's basically. I think it's the same as I posted before. I don't know if I added a game in there. I'll update it just so it's very clear on what my gaming schedule is. But um, if once we had 3 people interested, I'd say in one time, I'd make something immediately and run it because I do have a few that would be fun to run, and to celebrate with it. Probably nothing on Halloween because Halloween falls on a Monday, which is like the insane day for me anyway. Um, but and there's trick or treating in my neighborhood, and so funny. Kind of, I don't know what's funny. I don't even know if it's interesting, but um, Halloween is like the major holiday for my family, and probably not overly alone in this community with that. I would guess I'm more weird in other communities, but um, and part of the reason had to do funny thing because I would do pastoring at churches, and um that day in particular for the longest time was not taken up, right? Because churches didn't really do anything like that. And so I'd say we loved Halloween before then. Paula would go all out. She'd always make themed costumes for us. She made me this big Gambit costume. She made herself a rogue, so we loved it before. But it really became this kind of crazy thing on us because every other holiday, if you're in church work, is taken up. Like, you don't really get to spend it with your family. Like Christmas, forget about it. Like, I'm lucky if I'm awake on Christmas Day. When I was doing that stuff. So it's very interesting. So Halloween kind of became this like we do this, and then it became really cool for churches to do trunk or treats, and so we started to lose Halloween, and so this will be the first Halloween that we're not kind of involved in a lot of stuff. And so anyway, that's why I think it's masks that ended up not doing because it does trick or treat. So it's one of those things we really value as a family is going around, walking together, getting candy. Because soon my daughter will want to go out and do it with her friends. I only have so many of those left. I intend to take them. Yeah, exactly. Who doesn't love dress up? Like, hello. So here's a question. I was thinking for the rock campaign if I should get a different hat for the rock campaigns. I was really thinking of this if it should be more of a Western style hat for those. So tell me what you think if you would. Now don't talk to art department because she's going to say yes. Yes, because she desperately wants me in those hats. Like she's told me in her idea, if she could have her husband in a Stetson hat, white shirt with like a black tie, like she's a very happy person. So that's yes, you are making art department happy at this point. Yep, making art department happy with suggestions like that. So, but you don't get to just represent her. I was just wondering if that would be fun on Saturday and Sunday nights for the Rock to be that. Um, there is that. Um, Yeah. I bought I'm sorry, because you know or Carrie. Duh. I bought Paula this huge black dragon during Halloween clearance there. So we always do we always do that. We're big day after shoppers of the holidays. Like, you know, my Christmas decorations December 26th. We get all Halloween decorations November 1st. So I got her this massive black dragon, and what was hilarious is she liked it so much the first year we got it is she made it into a Christmas decoration by putting a Santa head on it. So this type of things we do to our neighbors. It's probably anyway. So there was this, and so we got Jack Skellington on top of the dragon Christmas hats. It's quite crazy. But yes. Yeah, that's actually a really good point because if I did the Stetson, I'd have to figure out a different headphone solution. Probably. Well, actually, the Stetson might go on top. Okay, now that I think about it, if I get the right type of Stetson hat, it should just kind of go right over and probably not be too bad. Because one of these sets actually does that not bad, but this one has it over, so could probably figure that out. Yes, poor me. Poor me. Yeah, but I was thinking, like, because again, I could do this profile shot, so I don't know how much a shirt is ever going to show up. So I was like, it'd be fun to have like different types of hats occasionally. This is obviously my go-to, and of course, I do like to highlight. This was the birthday present from all of you players, which I so much appreciated. So I really love this hat. And talk about things that you want to get yourself. Was a very nice of these hats. All of my other ones aren't as nice, and it was cool. I really appreciated that. It's one of the nicest things that I think a group of people ever got me. So anyway, don't need to be gross and icky and emotional. Let's see here. Okay, Firefly. Ooh, I need pictures. I need pictures of this. I really want to see that. That's very cool. Which reminds me, Carrie H. Author, I need to talk to you because I want to know more about the kind of writing you're doing, because I'm looking for writers and I don't know. I don't want to talk to you about it, so I have to get in touch with you. But puts a bug in your ear, so if I don't get in touch with you, you can yell at Paula to yell at me, probably. Unless you're not interested, because then you can just tell me to forget you, and it's fine. So, oh my goodness. And then, which I don't even know. Can you believe? Like, I'm so excited for that Sarah Warner is doing so well with Girl in Space. And it's like, I knew her. She was my greenie in bands. So it's very, very fun. So anyway, which I think her podcast is being made into a TV show. At least it was in the making of that. So anyway, this is Girl in Space podcast. Person I knew in high school is the one who makes it, and they are potentially making a TV, I think Amazon show out of it, something like that. I don't know if Carrie knows any more details, but I always say this because I guess she knew Lori who knew her, so I'm thinking maybe I don't know. That's a weird thing, but I believe that. So Jackie, I have to say, or Razzles, you cracked me up at the game on Thursday because you were slipping into that Southern so heavily when you were tired, because you usually keep it like less, and you ended up slipping. And it was so fun. It reminds me how I'll slip into very deep voice and ghetto talk. Or we call it ghetto talk around here. I don't know if that's the preferred thing. But like I'll definitely talk more from like where I'm from. I would say in I don't know, but inner city Cleveland, like more drop in certain syllables and consonants and like that. So yes, medical prescribed. They were sick, everybody. But yes, yeah, it was pretty crazy game. That was really, really fun. Um, yeah, yeah, that cracked me up. It really did. I was having fun with that. So, but yeah, I think just because we had the conversation how you had lost your southern accent a lot on purpose, and it kind of made it into. So we were having that conversation a little bit of things you had worked on, and when I heard that, I was like, oh my. Anyway, remembered because I think it's always funny when people talk like how they grew up, because I think all of us have grown up from somewhere, and there's been things about like whether it's language choice or whatever that we've changed a little bit. And so, but like when we're like when we don't have that strong sense of ourselves, like when we're on medication or whatever, I love when that happens, and it's just the most interesting thing of like, oh, this is who you were, or this is like this other piece before you made changes, which I just think is always interesting to find out about people. But I'm a people person in that way. Um, I was looking at Discord a little bit. Amber in there going that she won smaller dice and said the smaller dice and said the smaller dice, the Inception dice. Yeah, I know. There, Carrie. I do have ways I see on Facebook and the other stuff. I'll go to you. Like I said, I was just mentioning it because it hit the top of my head when I saw you. Let's see how all that works. But yeah, so I think I'm coming to the end of things to talk about. Most people have other deals. Just wanted to throw all that out. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm looking at Kids on Bikes when that comes out in the second edition. Again, maybe limited edition games of them, like we'd run 4 or 8 or something. I'd make an arc and do it. Werewolf Apocalypse, definitely want to run a few of those early, because that's a good thing. And then maybe, I don't know if I'll do it, but there's a decent chance I would try to do a Werewolf Wild West off of the new Apocalypse rules. If that came out, because it's almost the same thing when you look at the old Werewolf Wild West book, because that was like my bread and butter of games I like to run. Was Werewolf Wild West back in the 90s, early 2000s. That was my jam. So that's sort of fun. I'll probably be doing more Avatar. I want to run some Avatar stuff. I want to do is probably do limited of Avatar, 8 people, or 8 sessions rather. Something like that again, because we test ran the single sessions, and those are good. But it would be nice to do like a series of it. So to go, hey, we're gonna do 8 episodes essentially of Avatar. I think would be a lot of fun, and actually get to be a full arc with something where we'd have like the essential bad guy who, is out of balance with the world, and we would conquer that in some way. I think would be a tons of fun to do that. And I'm desperately wanting some people to want to play Root, because I think Root's a really fun game. But yeah, I'm trying to think of it. So I brought Avatar up because I was on that Kickstarter a year ago or something. It was a while they did that Kickstarter. That book's taking a while to come out. Let's see. Other ones that I might do limited of are Old Gods of Appalachia. That is coming out. And if you are going to say that game, it is Appalachia. If you call it Oh Gods of Appalachia, I'm going to throw something at you. It is Oh Gods of Appalachia. Because I will be very upset. It's Oh Gods of Appalachia, which is kind of like Cthulhu in like these mining towns type of thing. It has that feel to it if you're not overly familiar with the podcast, which I highly recommend. It's a horror anthology podcast, which I really enjoy. I'm a Patreon supporter of it, actually, and it'll come out. So that's a big fan of that. Yeah, Root is small animals going on adventures. Specifically, morally questionable small animals going on adventures. They're scoundrels, they're thieves and brigands. So it's not it's not like it could potentially be cute because there's cute and elements to it, I guess, but it is like very like you slice throats and you really do you commit kind of crimes together. Vampire Masquerade, that's an interesting one. Maybe if I do Masquerade, there's a certain style of Vampire Masquerade that I'm very much into, and I don't, from what I can tell, it's not what the popular way to play it is. Um, I think because it kind of goes off of where I like it. I think that's why I liked Werewolf so much. I felt like Werewolf easily fit into where I like to play. Um, But all that to be said, I played Vampire Masquerade a lot. It just I found out that the way like I played it and my friends played it was very different than the majority of people have played it. But okay, yeah. So then you'd be fine because you have any expectations. Um, so I think I would just be very definitive in how we do it. But Vampire Masquerade, I played what my favorite clan was Ventru, or followers of Set, but usually Ventru. I really enjoyed that end of it. But anyway, Vampire Masquerade is a very good, thick world. Different clans of vampires, different ideas. There's the insane Malkavians, the high society or I would say more business people, I guess. Ventru manipulators. There's the artsy. Dang it, I had the name and I know it. Tremere. No, not Tremere. Those are the wizards. Um, I feel like I want to say the name, but it's coming out of my mouth as Taldori no matter what I say it because I think it's a little similar to that. So I can't say it. Which I was so upset Friday night because I had an NPC name. Yeah, the Gangrel. That's a fun one. Um, and I was introducing Delia Briarwood into at least her name into the campaign, and my brain just totally malfunctioned and I could not come up with her name. I had to Google it. And again, I'm running a freaking Exandria campaign and it just was like not there in my head. And I was so upset. I felt like it's like embarrassing. Like it was like not like one of the pastors would be like not knowing like a book of the Bible or something. Like it just was like just totally not exactly like it was really. And so it's funny because a lot of times I'll have the names in front of me of NPCs, I'll have my notes. And I didn't put her in there because I'm like, I know Delia Briarwood. Like, I know who that is. I'll have that at the top of my head because I can I can get into that conversation on the street about that. But nope. And it could be because I'm 41. Could be. Not good. So I was like, what is happening to my brain? Yeah, Doctor Doom. Or like Magneto. Like if I was to be like, that guy who controls metal? Oh. Maybe Toreador. Thank you. That one, Bobby. Like I said, it was similar enough to where my brain was I was like and it just wanted to say Taldori because there's Dory tonight. And so that's where my brain is. I could not come up with that. I remember that. All right. So as you can hear the calls, I have other responsibilities I need to take care of today. So I am going to log off. That sounds everything. If you have any more questions or comments about what is happening, please go ahead and throw them into the Discord. Or if you're watching and you're like, what the heck, join our games. It's really, really fun. So see my Saturday peeps coming, or see my rock peeps in a few hours, and then my... my gosh, Taldori peeps a few hours after that. Bye-bye.